Hey, what's going on, everyone? Hope everyone had a great Easter. God bless everyone. And today I'm trying to give you guys a very quick update video as we start off this earnings season. So we have both Jpmorgan Chase and Johnson & Johnson announcing earnings today. Since both are very large cap companies and I own them and it's very popular stocks here in the community, I will briefly go over their results. We also have some companies announcing dividend increases, and that's always fun to cover as well. But to start off with, I want to congratulate Wolf of Ives. He was actually the first one to correctly guess last week's trivia question on where the background of that photo was taken. And of course, that was in the great city of New Orleans, Louisiana. Louisiana has been hit really hard with the C-19. So shout out to all my Southern viewers. I was a little surprised that so many people in the comments were actually able to get it. I was afraid that it was maybe a bit too hard, but you guys proved me wrong, like usual. So I will mark down the Wolf of Ives name down for an entry into the raffle for a gift card. But if you still want a chance at an entry, well, at the time of me recording this, not a single person was able to guess the trivia question for my Why NBA Players Are Broke video. So be sure to go back on that page and try to see where I hid a trivia question in order to win, because the question is actually super easy. You just have to look real close for the question. Also, guys, I finally was able to update my milestones reached mark, where I give the date of when my portfolio first reached each of the 1K milestones. So as you guys can see here, it took me almost 2 months to go from 23K to 24K. And I don't want you guys to get the wrong idea. I have been pouring in money like crazy during the last 2 months. It's just that the markets have been retracting so much that every time I made a deposit, it was just gone like that. But finally, the markets are going back up. As you guys can see, it only took me 1 day to go from 24K to 25K. And I wish I could tell you that the markets are always predictable and every 2 weeks you can expect to hit a new milestone. But as you guys can see, it's anything but that. You really need to be able to control those emotions and have an investing plan and a long-term outlook. And with all those factors, I'm sure most of us will be just fine. As you guys can see, I started my investing journey a little over 2 years ago now. And I've definitely learned a lot. It's been a lot of fun. And if you guys want to continue on this journey with me, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, as we one day try to reach that 250,000 Robinhood portfolio goal. So one of the ways we'll reach that goal is to invest in great companies like Johnson & Johnson. So they're hoping on producing between 600 million to 900 million doses of the potential C-19 vaccine by the end of Q1 2021. And human trials are scheduled to begin this September. And to no one's surprise, they did lower their guidance for the year, cutting it by about $1.40 a share. But most companies should be lowering their guidance given the state that we are in. So it's not really that big of a shock. Johnson & Johnson is expected to earn 11% less this year than in 2019. They did beat on their earnings estimate, and the stock went up almost 4.5% today, which is pretty good. But again, the day-by-day fluctuations don't really mean much. It's what can they do for you in the long run. Johnson & Johnson's CEO said that they will also be providing the vaccine as an option for not-for-profit for emergency use. So it's great to hear that companies aren't just always using this as an opportunity, a catastrophic event like this, to grow their bottom line. And as if that wasn't great news already, Johnson & Johnson also announced that they are raising their dividend from 95 cents a share to $1.01 a share. So that's a 6% increase, and that's also the 58th straight year that they have increased their dividend. Truly remarkable company that this is. And they have over $18 billion of cash on hand. Companies would not increase their dividend like this if they weren't really confident in the company, and if they weren't confident in the company to continue even in hard times like we're going through right now. Really, this stock is now trading not too much below what it was just 3 months ago, pre-C-19, but this is one of the few stocks I'd be willing to pay a premium to have. As you guys can see, I'm up a little bit on this position. Definitely, this is one of those I plan to hold forever and never to sell. And we'll be adding shares as time goes on here. But Jpmorgan Chase, they did not do as hot as JNJ. They had a pretty weak earnings, but Then again, we're not really expecting much in this current situation. I don't blame any companies for having weak earnings right now. Their revenue was down 3% year over year. Thankfully, the company has suspended share buybacks. We don't want more companies to be pulling a Boeing. Certainly, we don't want that. They did state, since there's so much uncertainty given the C-19, it's impossible to know the future credit costs and losses for the rest of the year at this point. It does look like Chase is adding money to its reserves to prepare for any defaults that might happen. And of course, there's a serious possibility that that could happen just because there's so many businesses that can't even operate right now. So there's obviously not going to be any way for those companies to be paying back loans. And once companies aren't able to pay back loans, it's just a bunch more dominoes that are going to fall from there. In terms of their actual branches, about 3/4 of their 5,000 banks are still open. They're just with more safety precautions. About 70% of their workforce is working from home, and they're also providing a 90-day grace period for mortgage, auto, and card payments. So it's nice to know that they're helping out those that are maybe unable to pay during this tough situation that we're going through. But what you all want to hear about, though, is Jpmorgan Chase and that sweet dividend that they pay 90 cents per quarter. And as of now, they have said that they continue to plan on paying that, and they are more than capable of continuing to be able to fund that. But if they, for some reason, were not able to, I mean, they certainly do have the capital, plenty of capital to do so, actually. If they do slash it, for whatever reason, I just feel like this company is just too important to the US economy, so I have a feeling that they're going to be just fine. In terms of other companies and how they did, some of the bigger movers today were Apple, 5%. So this is really sentiment of how the overall market does. Usually it follows Apple in one way or the other. And it's going to be huge when Apple announces its earnings on... It's expected at the last day of the month here, so that's going to be an interesting time, and a lot of big news is actually going to happen. The stay-at-home order is either going to get extended, which probably at this point everyone thinks it will. So April 30th, there's going to be a lot of big news happening around that date. We have Pepsi up 5% today. Crazy to see a boring stock like Pepsi go up, and then Applied Materials also up 5% today. Glad to be owning them. And then another semiconductor in NVIDIA, also up 5% today. So I just want to say I do think we're not really any closer to being absolved from the C-19 situation than we were a week ago. So really, I didn't really feel like there was any need for the market to shoot up as much as it did today. I mean, I was up almost 3%. Dow is probably something similar. I do think that this is fool's gold, and I can easily see another pullback. I usually try not to time the market, but I'm a bit more confident in this prediction and seeing more of a pullback here. Unless there's some other big breaking news that comes out. Governors can make all these vague predictions and plans, but that's not going to work unless they come up with a direct statement saying, hey, on X date is when we're reopening the economy. Being vague isn't anything to speculate on. But I don't want to end on a sour note, so I'm happy to announce that Procter Gamble announced a 6% dividend hike up to now 79 cents a share. While that might not sound like a lot, anytime a company can raise its dividend and not cut or suspend it in times like this, I would consider that a plus. Also, when analyzing companies in the future, we're going to be looking back at how they perform during these recessions, during these tough times. And for a company like Procter & Gamble to raise it for the 64th straight year, that really speaks volumes about this company and about how we're still going to be hoarding years worth of toilet paper when this is all over. Okay, so please be sure to hit that like button. It really goes a long way and really lets me know that if you guys like this type of content, and it helps me with the YouTube algorithm. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. Also, let me know what you're thinking in the comments and what stocks you're thinking about buying. And if you disagree with me, feel free to cuss me out.